All right, hello everyone, it's Mystic Juice here back with some more Yomi action. I just hopped onto the Yomi client, saw a whole bunch of people hanging around, so yeah, happened to catch GingiviTUSKS and Variable, about to go at it, so should be interesting. This is IYL action, and yeah, okay, it looks like there's some history between these two players, so that should make things particularly interesting. Usually, the more often you play somebody else, the more you get kind of weird, like read-based, like hard calls, like soul reads kind of thing. So maybe we'll see some odd behavior happening, and then we can chalk that up to some clever call-outs on the part of either player. All right, variable opening aggressive, going for that first turn throw. Makes a fair amount of sense, I think. Rook is definitely a character that operates best when he is able to build an amount of a hand, and can struggle against characters that are playing a block attack range, especially in the early game where he doesn't have a lot of tools to deal with that range very effectively. So, you know, once you're Rook and you're at like 10, 11, 12 cards, then, you know, throwing out a jack at 2.2 speed and having stuff to combo off of that, you know, having 7-8 or a 6-7 there is quite nice and isn't going to hurt you too badly. But at 7 cards, it's a little bit more difficult. You're probably just going to chuck in a 10, and then you're still going down cards just to deal kind of 14 damage. But GingiviTUSKS getting the better of this opening exchange here. Basically saying, oh, well, okay, variable, you know, so far so good. You know, I'm willing to cash in some damage while I can. You haven't really shown me that you're willing to press the attack button yet. See if GingiviTUSKS blocks here now that we've had 2 aggressive turns with throws. Might expect our opponent to react, but maybe not. Oh, there you go. Okay. In a manner of speaking, yes. But in another manner of speaking, no. So crushes that throw attempt with queen. Variable just trying to find some way of getting in. And getting a fair amount of damage in here. Already down 39 hit points. The starting 90, so could get dicey for a variable here. But GingiviTUSKS isn't really building a hand either. So still relatively even position in terms of hand sizes, and GingiviTUSKS definitely piling on the damage, so certainly looking advantaged currently. Big thinkums on this turn. That a timer play possibly? Oh yeah, looks like it. Is going to result in a nice additional 20 damage, and we're just getting it's just footprints all over Quince so far. So if GingiviTUSKS has like another jack, another queen right now, he can just complete the rushdown rook transformation, just close the game out without ever having lost a combat. It was one of the matchups where Rook's relatively slow speed queen is actually just fine. Undercuts a lot of important stuff. Wow, goes for the gold burst. Yeah, he wants to close this out in short order. I should say they. I have no idea. So 2 aces in hand, 7-card hand. That is, those 2 aces represent, you know, 2/3 of the remaining hit points for variable. See what happens here. So very tough spot for a variable currently. Already has an ace in the discard, so consent of the governed isn't, you know, super realistic. Ooh, and just does it. Variable taking a chance, saying, "Oh, maybe you want to go for the throw now that you've got known AA in hand, and you think that I'm going to feel pressured." get that throw in and then maintain AA and play the AA next turn when it's nearly lethal. And instead, GingiviTUSKS just powering up for the ace-ace again. So unless our rookie friend here has a king in hand, Variable can take one more throw without being killed. But that will of course leave Quince at 1 hit point. And then with AA in hand, that's checkmate unless he has a gold burst. Ooh, there's that throw. I think first combat win of the set for, or of the game. The set, it's the first game in the set. But yeah, first combat win for, yeah, for Variable there. Okay, gets the J started. A is 100% safe. So could use this opportunity to try to get cheeky. But yeah, either way, I mean, Rook can play to lose to Jack here with a throw or a block. Yeah, the Jack is fine too. Undercuts the J clean. Keeps the AA in hand, so we don't lose that. We still have that as our oppressive tool. And we're going to get thrown or something here. Might get queened. Wow, third ace. Oh my goodness. So Variable really had a hand loaded for bear. It's a definite shame that they weren't able to convert that hand into combat wins earlier. But it's not over yet. There is a chance still that Variable could bring this back. Be a hell of a comeback. So attack dodge is completely safe, but Variable could sprinkle in a cheeky throw or 2 attacks to, yeah. Instead went for the safe stuff. Is able to now kind of oppress GingiviTUSKS, a low hand. So every turn there's 2 known aces and then 3 mystery cards. So in terms of the options in their opponent's hand, Variable has just a few to contend with. 1 joker already down, so all of this damage is very likely to be real unless we get super secret second joker draw. I think we're likely to see, if that does happen, we're likely to see GingiviTUSKS keep the Joker as a blue burst option. Yeah, doesn't appear that the Joker has yet appeared. Okay, there's the king. So that king automatically beats both of the aces in Rook's hand. It's just those 3 additional mystery cards. Are there, is there a throw, a good throw left in their midst? We've seen 3 9s disappear. 2s and 3s still available. Even the queen throw doesn't. King still a possibility. Just does it. Finds the 2. Variable spins, looking for Joker, so they can try to escape the ace-ace checkmate here. If Rook has either a queen or a jack in hand, I would probably spend that first. 1 life, 1 dream. Yeah, I don't know about that knife fight. I don't know about that. It's this is looking pretty dicey right now. Does have the Joker. Wow. Okay. Alrighty. Well, beautifully played there by Variable. Calculated gold burst. I mean, in Tusk's shoes, I absolutely would have thrown the AA there. Again, only exceptional circumstances would be if I had somehow drawn into a jack or a queen. Oh, and the boot closes it out. Yeah, that was a hell of a mountain that variable would have had to climb there. So brutally efficient play by Tusks so far. Can they keep it going? And will variable stay? Okay, variable stays as Quince. Happy with the matchup. I think it's a fine matchup for Quince. Rook has some challenge. I mean, I've got some challenges in this matchup. It's a little bit harder to block in this matchup. Quince has pretty good tools in terms of making your blocks less good as combat wins than in some other matchups. Getting spins off of combat wins definitely puts the pressure on Rook. Rook also doesn't have tremendously good ways or super effective or efficient ways of hedging against Quince's spins. Obviously, you know, Rook has plenty of fast throws in order to contend with K-spin, and, you know, fast enough attacks against Q-spin, but Jack definitely, you know, can cause some issues. And just in general, the Rook's not as good at playing the play a fast enough attack at Quince on any of the spins, and then just let Quince dodge if Quince wants to, and then try to play the value game that way. Ooh, huge haymakers coming out of variable right now. Very different hand composition and much different sense of what they're afraid of from Tusk's side, and Tusk's adjusting their range considerably. Just you know, opened up very throw heavy or very aggressive in the early game last time, made a huge life lead, and this time doing quite the opposite, just building up a hand, playing very slow, just revealing blocks. Okay, trying to get in with the entangling vines. So failed dodge essentially there. Does give us some indication that Tusks has maybe some kind of cross-up, like a straight available for cross-up attempts. Maybe a 4-5-6 or a 5-6-7, as those are going to be the most likely high-pressure cross-up options. Ooh, just hits with the AA. Finding those aces very early, and happy to play them in neutral. Definitely the stage of the game where Quince does not yet have the hand size where he's likely to be spending a lot of dodges. And if Quince is getting aggressive from that posture, then AA is a great tool to shut Quince down. Dominant speed in the matchup. Fastest move that Quince has is consent to the governed, so that AA, which is 1.2 speed, yeah. So there's a lot of, in spite of Rook's general like non-speediness, so grappler speeds, his J and his Queen are quite effective. Ooh, Clash of the Titans. Not going to get an opportunity to rock armor, as we have an exact speed clash, and Rook's normal does have to be undercut. That's a mighty high five there. Quince does get the spin opportunity and shows a king. Okay, and yeah, this is posturing like it's going to be a real king spin. Definitely against the grappler, probably more effective to do this than the you know, reveal spin tax attacks. So a better hedge. See what variable can do here. Yeah, okay. So plays it honestly is going to get it kinged and scooped up there, but we'll get essentially 3 cards off of that exchange, build their way to a hand that is more able to oppress and is still on a little bit more than 50% of their total hit points. So not doing too shabbily. Definitely in a better position than last game, even though the health total is still quite a deficit against Tusks. Tusks now playing much more aggressively. Just as I say that, goes back to blocking. So keeping a nice mix of aggression and defensive play here. So as Quince, what you're worried about here is a 4 cross up into Queen plus, 10 cards in hand, 9 cards in hand? No, 9 cards in hand. Definitely able to sustain a that kind of a combo. Let's see what so we've got 2 10s. So it's basically, do you value the king more or less than a 5 or a 6? Probably give the king here, if it was me. Depends a little bit on Tusk's hand. King is definitely, less of a factor in this next combat reveal. Okay, goes for the larger amount of cards. Okay, taxing attacks. And now variable can wake up relatively safely. Not really relatively safely. You can't afford to get crossed up here too badly. Ooh! Yeah, that's just going to be outsped just a scooch. Variable trying to call out an option select throw from Tusks. And wow, right into the straight. 21 damage for free, get that ace. Already has 2 aces still in hand, powered up with the 9s earlier in the game. So again, we've got variable dealing with a 90 plus hit point rook at 23 hit points. Definitely not working out for him so far. And this is IYL, it's first to 3, so if variable takes a loss here, it's going to be uphill climb for sure. I mean, this game is going to be an uphill climb already. But 11 cards in hand, still very feasible. Yeah, the No Fear 5, I like it. That 5 and 6 that Tusks so generously handed to Very going to come into play here. 5, 6, 7, Jack. No, okay, just the straight. Still staring down the barrel of the dominant speed AA here, but getting an ace of their own. Does get the spin set up. What do we have? Okay, king. Nice. That does defend against the AA. Possibly makes a throw much more likely from Tusks here. Okay, variable refueling. Not a bad batch of cards. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Queen for the big ender damage. Jack and king for continued spins. King is a nice setup against grapplers. Obviously, if you get thrown, it's bad, but against rook, you're only taking 10, 15, or 50 damage. And 50 is kind of irrelevant, is just as much as 15 in this instance, really. So, and it does, encourage the grappler to open themselves up and let you slide into their DMs with your aces and 5s and whatnot, your queens. Okay, variable, yeah, 13 card hand, definitely able to sustain a Patriot Mirror turn here. So again, an attack and a dodge, completely safe to anything that rook could do, so long as the attack is a 5 or higher, so you don't get scooped by king. Or will variable get aggressive here? No, plays it safe. Yeah, elects not to give rook any additional cards there. And Tusks not opting to take any risks, saying, you know, hey, if you've got the stones to throw me, then that is absolutely fine. I have 73 hit points to play with, 10 cards in hand, 3 of them are aces. There's no need for me to make any moves, take any risks. And there we have it. AA finds another victim. Variable at 3 hit points. That is lethal chip range to another AA, which we know Tusks has at least one more ace. These power-ups from variable, if Tusks has the other ace, the 4th ace in hand, I would probably, oh, okay, never mind. So that is definitely an indication that they don't have it. But now the gun is loaded. Not too many dodges played on variable side, so definitely has a possibility of playing the dodge here. Tusks can play pretty throw heavy though if they want to, knowing that, you know, nothing's going to be oh the reflect. Turning that damage around. Nice hedge against attack or dodge. And now where does variable go? Make a character pick. You stick to your guns with Quince with a 2-game deficit. Going into the think tank a bit. I don't know what other characters variable plays. Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. Geiger Rook matchup. So yeah, this matchup is pretty bad for Rook in theory. I still like it probably more than I do some other Rook matchups. I think it's one of those matchups where even if you're disadvantaged, you can definitely have a conversation with your opponent. It's time. Classic. Yeah, well, it can be tough. It can be tough. There's a lot of things about Geiger that make it difficult for Rook. But there's a lot of things about Rook that can make it difficult for Geiger. The early game is going to determine a lot of how things work out here. And variable, once again, getting aggressive, and Tusks shutting it down with an early clap. When you see a 10 come out, yeah. Can't really afford to go in too hard. Geiger is definitely a character where you can't survive being at 4 cards against. Gotta manage your hand a little bit better than that. Unless you are absolutely friggin' loaded to the gills with damage and are certain you're going to close things out. Rook's Queen as a combat reveal in this matchup is just that much worse than in the Quince matchup, as it does get undercut clean by Geiger's Jack. Ooh, going for the early Stonewalls. I'm not sure I like that, to be quite honest. I get it, like you want to defend yourself against gears. It could actually, it depends a little bit how much how good a Rook player I think Tusks is, and I think from the performance in the last 2 games, I'm willing to say pretty good probably. So that could actually just be an indicator that they don't have any other blocks, like don't have a 9, don't have a 4, don't have an 8. It happens more often than you would think, and in this matchup that can be really scary. Okay, never mind, had the 4, so it was just trying to defend against spirals. In that case, or maybe just top deck the 4 again, can't say. But in that case, I like it less. I don't like special blocking early spirals with 5 in particular, even with 3. 3 maybe okay, you know, there, if you have a 4, you can set up a potential, you know, cross-up situation against Geiger, and any damage you can get in early against Geiger is definitely going to help you, but you can't go too low. So And they're both playing blindfolded. The tech. Is that the new rook tech? No, but like so I think just blocking spirals in the early game when the hand differential is not too high is actually fine. It costs Geiger more cards than it costs Rook, and Rook has more hit points to play with, so it's okay to get hit by spirals early, unless the Geiger player draws absolutely godlike and manages to also then capitalize on the opening created by the spirals. You're probably fine. The 7th row is interesting there. So no 10s, no, let's see, what are the where are the abilities? They're on the 4 and the 8. So no 9s or 10s in hand. What are the blocks distribution like? So 5, 6, 8. Yeah, okay. So probably not block locked, and you can't play like they are anyway. But playing the 7th row there does tell us a little bit about Variable's hand. So is a block less likely here? I think so from the Geiger side. So maybe a wake up Jack or a wake up Queen here is okay. Yeah, there we go. Nicely done. My estimation of Tusk's skills continue to increase. Doing everything they can to push as much damage into Geiger's face as soon as they can. And wow, that is every game so far has found 3 9s and powered up for double aces. So another possibility there is having the 9s in hand and blocking with the 5s just because they were unwilling to risk the 9s. Like, you don't want to put a 9 out there and get that spiraled if you've got a triple, because that's actually an ace that's being, or double ace that's being taken out of your hand if you lose that block. So fair enough, fair enough. Anyway, yeah, really good match so far. GingiviTUSKS doing what they need to. And Variable is slowly, this is kind of this typical way that this works, unless you win every combat against Geiger. Geiger is going to start pulling up into that card count where things get much scarier. The deeper Geiger goes into his deck, the more chances they get at spirals, the more opportunities they have to find kings, which can be particularly destructive in this matchup. Very good ender, deals good damage. Okay, that was an important, every combat win, every successful normal blocked by Tusks is going to be very valuable right now. Okay, so Checkmate Buster is now online. Variable is not yet within lethal range, but effectively is within lethal range of Checkmate Buster. Things are going to get dicey. This is where I would expect both players are starting to think about, what if I reveal a king? What if Geiger reveals a king this turn? So expect that to be kind of the play that everyone's thinking about. We'll see how both players respond to that kind of knowledge. Okay, Variable saying, hey, if you've got the stones to Checkmate Buster, go for it. And also saying you probably want to check if I'm going to gold burst or king you. So, you know, I'll just go ahead and block, and I'll probably be safe. And that is all 4 3s in the discard. But I like this decision by Tusks, basically saying, okay, I am going to win in the next couple turns. This is my goal. Ooh, and there's the gold burst. Ace transfer occurs, and that is particularly scary. I think that's one of the things that makes this matchup that much harder is just how vulnerable Rook is to gold burst. We got Temporal Distortion on the play. That would make this probably not lethal range for for Variable, but close. I mean, it's getting there. Yeah, okay, there we go. How many? Yeah, that was the only spiral in the discard. So we've got 4 known aces. That is 42 damage guaranteed. The queen adds up to 7, so 49 guaranteed damage in hand off a successful combat win. Do we see the ace-ace come out? Okay, neither player fully pulling the trigger there. Tusks willing to take a throw starter. That is one of the bigger, like the higher, I think probably the highest damage output that Geiger can get usually. Is typically off of a throw into temporal distortion specifically. Ooh, really good block from Variable there. Unfortunately, Tusks with that gold burst. So, Variable still has to contend with AA from Tusk's side. So the gold burst and the ace-ace were kind of on the same. They're dealt with in the same way by the Geiger player, by just blocking or dodging. So an unfortunate situation where, I mean, the gold burst would have probably been more effective the turn after. Like had Tusks woken up AA there, yeah, you risk getting Cycloid Revolutioned, but then you have the Joker as backup. Yeah, so if you had this exchange last turn, unless they've got the other Joker. No, okay, Variable not willing to risk it, and that's fine. There's no wasted damage here. Tusks Rook has a lot of hit points to chew through, so not mad at this this decision. In 20,202. So still very scary times for Tusks. It is increasingly looking frightening from their side. Oh, catches the dodge! Still able to capitalize. I mean, this is the advantage of the line that Tusks chose, which is that they still have ace-ace as a threat, and therefore can still mix in the throws. Variable is not in too bad a position though. Still has spirals, has the other two ace half of Cycloid Revolution, so can still play both sides of that. The wake up throw, it's not going to be as scary as it would have been a couple of turns ago, which is why Tusks probably felt okay taking it. This could just be a setup into knockdown. Okay, no, going for damage. 40 hit points remain for our Golem friend. 2 known aces, so we know we're not in death to aces range, right? So we've already got those 2 in the discard. And Tusks does still have AA, but so does Vary. So Vary's got the dominant speed attack in the matchup. Potentially both dominant speed attacks if they've got any kings still in hand. Yeah, both unwilling to pull the trigger. Variable at this point, I don't know. This is definitely still a delicate balance here. Whoever if either of them lose combat with their aces, their opponent's going to be in a significant advantage. So I can understand both of them being a little gun shy of just tossing them out there. Ooh, the queen gets clapped. It's good face down by Variable here. Unlikely to be a Joker, but still makes Tusks think about it. Okay, just cashes in for 10 damage. It's fine. 33 hit points is a nice place to be. Definitely better than 43. Okay, that is a 4-card cycle. Once again, the Spectre of King raises its its ugly mug. So will variable be able to capitalize, and will Tusks be able to contend? Things just got much more dicey. This is, if Vari wins off of a throw or an attack, that's death, I think, for, yeah, and there we go. Variable pulls the aces out of Tusk's hand, and now things are looking quite dismal. Okay, immediate power up. Legion has something to say. Someone trim the vines. Okay, there we go. All 4 aces return to Geiger's hand. The threat of a 5 is really the only thing keeping Tusks kind of in the mix, so to speak. Can discourage variable from just playing either side of those aces as the combat reveal. Nope, and that's it. That's lethal. No way out of this one. All 4 aces are known, so expect a massive time spiral combo to come out. Oh, okay. So might only have had the aces, but luckily for them, that is in fact all they needed. So stays alive in the set, going to be on Geiger for the rest of the set, and it's up to Tusks how they're going to respond to this. Do they have a counter pick? Are they going to stick in this matchup? Or yeah, do they have another counter pick? Okay, switching to Grave. Exciting. We don't see a lot of Graves. So here's what we're waiting for. Okay, so apparently this is their contested matchup. Mayhaps. One with the most history. The main chickens. Love the Excellent Adventures reference there. Fight me with your main chicken. Excellent. Yeah, loving it. Got the song references going. Hey, what is this? 4 years ago? I'm very excited that this IYL has brought out more participants, especially new participants. Very, very exciting. Brought some old players back, which is awesome. And yeah, made the spectator game way higher. Okay, 2 blocks in a row. This is some real ass Yomi right now. This is the tension building. The most exciting 2 first turn and second turn combat reveals you can see in any matchup is block twice in a row. That's how you know you're going to see some shit. Who will blink first? So Graves Jack is, I think, an excellent tool in this matchup, especially in the early game. Controls a lot of space, shuts down all of the spirals on Geiger's side, and option selects both the spirals and the blocks. So, you know, getting that free chip in without building Geiger's hand, very, very nice. And it is going to force the Geiger player to either spend a king to undercut, like anything that the Geiger player would want to play to undercut the Jack clean. So ace, either side of the ace, Joker, King, all of those are rather expensive options that will all lose to Graves' block. Okay, this is not an ideal situation here for Tusks. 9-card Geiger can spend some cards in order to stop Inga. Chooses not to, just going for the build, and that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. You know, that spiral is not really spent because you do get them back. You get at least one of them back every time you play a Temporal Distortion. So what is gone is not lost forever. For Geiger, at least. And Tusk's playing incredibly slow. Very, very patient game. And then immediately opens up. Okay, yeah, trying to trade with a future queen, or just undercut a big normal or a throw attempt there. The 3 could also indicate a straight. So 4, 5, 6 possibly in hand for Tusks. Grave is blessed with a 3A super, which, as we all know, characters with 3A supers always draw them completely silent by turn 4. So would not be incredibly surprised if Tusks already had the true power of storms. The Jack reveal probably indicates that they don't, because if you did, the dodge is far more likely in that spot. And variable, yeah, converting immediately to triple ace. Tusks going, screw it. Who needs straights? Let's grab the aces direct. So we are solidly at 84 and 82 health. We are solidly in the mid game. Huge supers are online. Every combat reveal now becomes exponentially dicier. Real world consequences all abound. Okay, goes for the queen. Variable, potentially going in with the 7 just to set up knockdown. I mean, obviously Geiger gets good damage off of the 7th throw, so that's fine too. But setting up the knockdown and then putting temporal distortion into play, definitely more effective than not. Yeah, just in general. The temporal distortion turns are going to be interesting. The queens are very valuable in that spot, so not 100% sure I agree with the spending of the queen in neutral. The play from variable here tells me that they've got a joker. I don't think you play this willy-nilly. And this disrespectfully of True Power of Storms with without a joker in hand. The plays are very, like, immediately went for 2 very risky plays. So like first, as soon as the power-ups happened, first turn was a 7 throw, and second turn was a 5 attack. So you only really do that, I think, either you have an incredible read on Tusks, and that they're, you know, incredibly unlikely to either go for dodges or reveal the True Power of Storms raw, and then if they're never going to play or very rarely going to play True Power of Storms raw, then you can play pretty disrespectfully as long as you got the Joker backup. There's the dodge. Variable at 45 hit points. You're going to see the face down. Does Tusks go in or not? And I think if I was Tusks, I would not. I would just let this go. Yeah, there you go. So this makes a lot of sense. Do we have a second joker from variable? That's going to be the question. Okay, powers up for the 4th ace. Are we going to see temporal distortion come out? Okay, we do. All right. So everything is on the line now. 42 damage already in hand for Geiger. We know that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a visual glitch when there's already a queen in his opponent's hand. Geiger's temporal distortion appears to move that like out of the discard, but it doesn't actually do anything. Ooh, gets around the dodge, and this is going to shut down 1 distortion at the very least. Immediate face down. I mean, you have to throw at least just to get rid of temporal distortion. Yeah. Okay. All right, so, you know, didn't land 45 damage there, but that's fine. Turning off Temporal Distortion, turning it back into a neutral game where Geiger has 40 damage in hand, way better for Grave overall, especially if that had been real. So not mad at the hedge there. Okay. Variable not done yet. Okay, Tusk saying, you done. You done. That's 3. Oh no, sorry, that's 2. 2 Temporal Distortions. We're going to play at least one normal neutral turn. Cross-up attempt from Tusks? No, goes for the dodge. Bet it all on Variable waking up with something fast, and we're going to see, yeah, True Power of Storms come out. Is the other Joker available? It is not, and that is a clean, well, not a clean sweep, but very dominant wins on Tusk's side. Very, very well played. Variable is no slouch, and that was a really aggressive set. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, enjoy yourselves some Yomi. Cheers.